Hey guys, Vern Danke. Guess what time it is? It's time for me to leave Albania. And where will I go next? I'm gonna try to go to Montenegro. So I'll show you where I stayed before I left.
Hey, Vern.
All right guys, so this is where I stayed for a month. It's a place called Kultura Pub. And I'll show you where it's at. Check it out. All right, so this is the pub here, and it's on this main street out here in Shkodra. So they got a pool table back here. They got a little laundromat. Hello?
Hello.
And then they've got a little kitchen back in here. So you got a nice big kitchen. You wanna make some food? You got a place to stick your groceries. All right, so then I'll just give you a little overview. So the room cost me about $10 a night. Maybe it's 7, 8 euros. Anyway, it was a good price. It was probably the cheapest place I could stay in Shkodra. Everything else was a little bit more expensive than any other part of Albania other than Tirana. So this building here is 3 floors. And luckily I had the whole room to myself, so it really worked out good. But there's rooms here, and then I'm up just the one more floor. So everything worked out good, and I stayed here for a full month. It's time for me to move on. So I'll just give you a quick overview. I haven't cleaned my room totally, but at least you'll see what it's like in here. There's my messy bed, but this room is enough for 3 people. And luckily it was just me, and they brought me a thing to stick my clothes on to dry. Now, this used to be the old Bulldog hostel, but they renovated everything. And now it's called Kultura Pub and Hostel. You can see what it looks like outside here. So this room next door has a balcony. And I unfortunately didn't get that room. So it worked out really good here. They took really good care of me. They have a cook on site, and he's one of the guys that we passed as we're going past the bar. So I'll probably put my own music on that soundtrack since they had Madonna playing, and I'd get a copyright strike for having that on there, so I'll have to put my own music. But in any event, it worked out well. There's a little bit of a nightlife at this pub. Now they're gonna have like a curfew until 10. Before it was a curfew at 8. If you like loud music and you like talking to people in a loud sense, then this is your place. I like a place to talk to people, not so much loud. It's kind of a younger scene, but the people are really nice here. The owners are really cool, and they took real good care of me. And the gal that works here, she offered to give me a ride to the border of Montenegro, and then I'll take a bus or a cab into the next town. So it's time for me to move on. I've stayed in Albania long enough, but this, I just wanted to give this hostel a plug. Kultura Pub and Hostel. If you're in here, it's a great price. They're in a prime location right on the main walking streets here. You couldn't ask for a better place. So if you want to come to Shkoder and you need a central point, this is a great place. And it's within 3 blocks of where the buses will drop you off. So it worked out real well, and I'm real happy that I stayed here. Hey guys, I'm here at the clinic. I'm gonna try to get a serology test. I'm gonna try to go to Montenegro here in the next couple days, and I wanna see if I've had COVID before. It's about $40 US to have the serology test, and some countries will accept that. If not, then I'll also maybe need to get a COVID test at some point. And the COVID test is anywhere from $80 to $110, but The actual serology test is about $40 US. All right, guys, so I'm here to pick up my serology test results. I'm kind of having mixed emotions. I'm not sure how it's gonna go, so I'm here at the clinic and I'll show you what it looks like. So this is the place that I'm at. Hopefully they're done today. All right, so we're getting our results. Let's see how it goes. Well, she said I didn't have it, so I got the letter. I haven't looked at it yet, but so that's kind of interesting. I'm surprised because I felt like I was sick last March, maybe September, so. All right, so I'm loaded down and I'm waiting for Elise to give me a ride to the border of Montenegro. So this is all my heavy gear. Hopefully I can get in without having to have a quick COVID test. I did a serology test and it showed negative, so I'm just gonna gamble, see how it goes. Crossing my fingers. All right, guys, so I'm here with a taxi and we just crossed the border to Montenegro. So we're en route and we are headed there. So we're inside Montenegro and we're heading to Ulcin, and Ulcin I think is about 30 minutes away. And so I'm gonna stay there for a few days and vlog that, and then I will head up north from there. So very cool. So I was able to get in with my serology test, which was a lot cheaper than taking the other COVID test. It was about half the price, so that worked out well, and I'm pretty happy about that. So, because the serology test was $40 US, and the COVID test was $80. And if I needed to get it, I was going to get it, but I didn't know. And it's about a 30-minute ride from Shkoder to the border, and you know, he asked me if I had anything, so he wanted to see it, and I just gave him that, and it was good enough. So rock and roll, we're going in. And so one thing about the serology test, it'll tell you if you've had the proteins in your body for antibodies. So I believe it would probably tell you to some degree, even if you had COVID. So in any event, onward, here we go. I'm excited. So I'll show you what we're seeing while we're cruising into Montenegro. Hey guys, so I've been wanting to do my review of Albania. Now that I'm in Montenegro, I'm walking through the town here. I needed to make a final video of what I thought about Albania, the culture, the food, the people. And so I want to start off by saying that Albania was probably one of the most beautiful places that I've ever experienced, scenic-wise. And if I could experience something as beautiful as that, I will do it any day. It was just that amazing. All right, so we're walking through the streets here, trying to find an area that's not so windy today. That's really hard to do. Believe me, it's really windy here. And if you look up on the hill, they have wind farms with windmills. So yeah, it's gonna be tricky to do this video today. Whoever thought I would be in the former Yugoslavian country where they made the Yugos? I know that's kind of crazy, but I used to work at a dealership. Let's see, where was the dealership? The dealership was in Minnesota. I forgot that now. Actually, it was in St. Paul, Minnesota. and it was a Chrysler dealership, and we sold Yugos. And it was funny because they were a cheap disposable car, and people would come and complain for just about everything that was going wrong with their cheap disposable car, as if it was going to be 100% reliable. That was crazy. Anyway, so I wanted to do my review of Albania, what I thought of Albania. Now, the thing with Albania is it's like an onion. You're only going to get a layer at a time. And people asked me right when I arrived in Albania, what's Albania like? And I didn't want to say because I wanted to take time to really understand the people in the country. And what I found about Albania is, since it's only been out of communism about 30 years, you have a country, a people, and an identity that is changing. It's revolving. They're finding themselves. They're finding their voice. They're finding their place in society, in their culture. It's like they're starting fresh, anew. And how do you tell a person what that's like when somebody's changing so fast and so rapidly? You can't just give them one answer, oh, they're this way or they're that way, because it doesn't fit. They're completely changing. They went from really hardcore, hardline communism to all of a sudden having some freedom. And the young people, they do not like communism. A lot of the older people do not like communism, but there are still people that are holding on to some of that power, and they're slowly losing it because the younger generation coming up, they see what everybody else has and they want that. So you've got people that want to leave for jobs and work, and then you got people that want to stay and try to make a go of it, people that understand they need to make their own country go. And so it's a really diverse group of people. It's a diverse country, and it has so many dynamics in play, and it's hard to really understand it unless you spend time there. And the thing that I found was that you could still feel some of that old world communist energy, that gruff, kind of hard energy. But once you get past that, you find a sincere, genuine, loving people. And oftentimes, when I was first there, I didn't understand that, and it took me a while to get past that. And that's not with all the people, but it is with a large population that kind of tend to be that way. All right, so I'll show you where I'm at. I'm heading toward this castle, and I'm going to do this. Well, it's actually Old Town Ulchin, and I'm going to do this on a different vlog, but I'll show you a picture where we're at. So this is where I'm headed, and I'm just going to visit this today, and then I'm going to do a separate vlog on it. But I want to show you guys, I'm in Montenegro, and this is why I came here, just to explore and learn a whole new culture. Okay, so you have a group of people that their identity is constantly changing. And it's almost like you have a country that's had thousands of years of different cultures mashing together. But then when communism took over, it's like it just erased all of that, and it stole their identity. So all the different influences of foods, art, it just seemed to kind of vanish. I go out for eating different foods, and I don't find very many foods. There's some ethnic Albanian foods, but they're very simple foods, and it could be because of the cost. They needed to keep the cost cheap because there was not a lot of money during communism times, and there's not a lot of money there right now. So you don't really necessarily find a big, thick, juicy steak or a big, fat hamburger. I really had troubles finding those things that I had kind of got accustomed to. Even mashed potatoes, believe it or not, they really didn't know how to make mashed potatoes. I asked this one girl if she could make mashed potatoes, and she said sure. And she kind of made it, but she didn't really know how to do it. And I thought that was cute that they tried, but I thought that was kind of unusual that they didn't understand either. So there's so much going on. There's just so much. I can't sum it up in one video. So with the land, I had never been to a more incredible area for rivers, mountains, streams, oceans. I've never seen rivers and oceans so clear in my life. It was completely unexpected and so amazing. I still am wordless at a lot of the places, how just spectacular they were. And to me, that was worth every penny. So it's very windy today. I'm trying to find an area that's not so windy. That's one of the reasons I came out here. All right, so the other thing was that some of the Albanians were some of the nicest people I ever met too. You know, they went out of their way at the hostel. They went out of their way to make sure I had everything I needed. They were cooking for me. foods that I really loved, some nice pizzas, some traditional stuff that they wanted me to experience. We went out to a couple places to eat. So it was really cool. They really took good care of me at Kultura Pub. And the thing that is really hard to experience during this season is that most things are not open. They're not open for tourism. So you're not really getting the full experience. You're not seeing all of the Albania culture, and you're definitely not getting a lot of the traditional foods that you might be used to eating. So to be fair to all the people, I can't pin down Albania to any one style, type, or group because it is so diverse and it is changing. But I honestly can say that I really didn't have any bad experiences. It was all really good, positive experiences. It was a great value for what I had. You could stay very inexpensively. You could travel and see some of the most amazing places your mind could even imagine. And even then, I wasn't able to go into Theth because of the winter season. I came at the wrong time of the year. From my heart to the Albanians, thank you. Thank you for the 1-year free visa. Thank you for being so welcoming. And so if you go there, I think you're going to find that you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the options for places to go, for the people that you meet, and I think it'll be an amazing experience for not a lot of money. Okay, so if you get a chance, go to Albania. I really mean that from my heart. Go to Albania. I really had a good time, and I kind of miss it now that I'm over here. I haven't bonded with Montenegro yet. I've only been here basically one night, and so I'm down at the old city in Ulcin now. I'm trying to find a place quiet enough to make my vlog, and I found one spot. And the sad thing is, I'm walking in Old Town and they're pulling all the old sidewalks up, and I'm like, I wish I had my metal detector. I'm like looking at these areas thinking, man, there's gonna be stuff. But what do? You know, I don't know if they allow it here or not. I'm gonna have to find out. And I didn't bring it, so any event, I'm gonna come down and vlog this castle next, even if it is half tore up, this old town. I'm gonna come down and vlog this next. Now, the reason I stayed so long in Albania was because I wasn't sure of my options for traveling. I didn't want to go clear back to the US. I didn't want to take a flight clear back and pay for a flight to Mexico because that's going to be very expensive, and then ultimately have to pay to go back to the Philippines. That's a huge flight. So it's over, well, probably $1,000 each way if I were to do that. And I'm not a rich man, so I could do it, but I don't want to blow my money. I'm trying to save it as much as I can. So that's where I'm at. And Montenegro, the food seems really cheap. I'm able to eat an English breakfast for €3, which is $3.60. Let's see, $3.60 USA money. Wow. And it was 2 big sausages, 3 eggs with prosciutto ham on top of them, bread, cheese, and what else? And a little salad. What a deal. And it even included, I think I got a water with that too. So yeah, you can eat pretty cheap here in Ulcin, where I'm staying right now. So the other thing that is really tough during travel times in Albania is it's kind of limited on the buses from COVID times. There are more buses that run during tourist season, but out of season, you're going to be a little limited. Not impossible, but limited. Some cities, you may only have one bus going from one destination to the other. Now, all the buses seem to go back to Tirana. So if you ultimately want to go to Tirana for the day, you can do that. And if you missed your bus to your one city, you could probably go to Tirana, and then from Tirana to the final destination that you'd like to go to. It's a hassle, but if that's what you need to do, you can do it. So one man, while I was eating a meal in Shkoder, he said, I don't think Albania will ever change. And I said, maybe you need to be the change. Maybe it has to come from you. You have to change from within. And when people see that you are different, they're going to wonder why. They're going to say, wow, he's really different. What's different about him? If everybody looks for everywhere else to find happiness, you're never going to change what you have where you're at. And I believe that the people have it within them to make those changes. They're very smart people. They just need to believe in themselves and to love what they have. When I came to Albania, I never seen such a beautiful place. And there's so much to offer the world in tourism. outdoor activities, travel. Not a lot of places have that much natural beauty. And if you harness that and use that, you won't need to use some of the other activities for financial gain. You just won't even need that. It'll all be above board and of a good deal. I really believe that. So one girl I chatted that took me out to visit a old castle site, which was really cool. She kind of had a little bit of a hard outer shell, and I didn't really understand why that was. And she told me, she says, you're not allowed to show weakness because people will take advantage of that. And I think that's too bad, and I feel that's the communism old past. And I sensed that before from some of the Russian people that had visited the U.S. that were living there. I sensed some of that strong outer shell. And it takes to penetrate that before you can get into the person to know who they are. And it's not easy for them to open up and show that vulnerability. But I think if you go outside the city, people are a little bit easier to know. Their guards are down, and you can find just some really amazing, loving people. And so I had run across a hosteler that had told me, he said some of the nicest people that he's ever met were out of the city in Albania, and they were just the kindest folks he'd ever met. And he did say that because of COVID, it had changed. It was different. It wasn't the same Albania that he had remembered before when he was backpacking and staying in some of those little smaller towns. So things are different. Things have changed, and Albania is evolving. It's not one way. Some people might not like the culture. They might not like things about Albania, but I think that's unfair. I think they have to be given a chance because they are changing. They are growing. You can't say they're the past because they're not the past. You can't say that they're the future now because they're still changing. They're still growing. And so the thing is we have to give Albania the credit and the room to find out who they are, to find their ground, their level. And I think when they find that, I think it's going to be amazing. I really do. So I kind of find that I'm having trouble even giving my last mixed review on Albania. And it's not for any negative reasons. It's just I still have a hard time just giving a yay or nay. Like, was it 100% positive? It mostly was. Was it negative? Not really, but there were some things that were a little negative. Some of the foods, some people were a little gruff. Some of the buses were a little too crowded, but I mean, it's stuff that you can find in any big city or any part of the world. So it wasn't like I can really say anything really negative. But it was really weird to see that dynamic of a people changing from coming out of communism, even after 30 years, coming into having a freedom and embracing that freedom and not being satisfied with people that are still holding on to the old ways. Some people just wanted to leave Albania that were young because they didn't see a positive future for themselves there in that old world dynamic. And that was really hard to understand because I didn't know how bad it was there. And even though Enver Hoxha had passed, there's still some people holding on to those old ways. And it's of no fault to the general population. It's of no fault. But it takes time to change, and they want it to change. They really desperately hope that it does change. They want what the rest of the world has. They really want that. And if they have to leave to get that, they'll do that. So I'd also talked to another guy, a friend of mine from Switzerland, and he said that when Albania first fell to communism, he had visited here that year right away. And he had said that the people were like in shock, like they were coming out of a bombed out shelter. They were kind of like walking zombies. They didn't know what to do. Their whole life they had this iron fist held over them, and then all of a sudden they have this freedom. And how do you manage that, man? I mean, the door to the cell is open, and how do you deal with that? But yet there's still some of the old world power structure. And so things are getting better and they'll get better, but you just don't know how to move out of that. You don't know how to move forward. And that had to be just horrible. I'd heard stories of people losing everything they had. The government would come and say, we want this. We want your house. We want your business. See ya. And they would just take everything you had. And how do you get motivated? How do you feel strength? How do you feel joy and love when everything is gone? You know, it's just like, oh my God, I can't even imagine that. I can't. My friend Raymond had said something really powerful. He said, he says, we've come a long way. And to me, that spoke volumes. It's like we've come so far as a people, and we're not finished. We're not finished to where we are going. And that was just like, wow. And I had to really think about that. What did that mean? We've come a long ways. From where? And that's when I started to learn about how horrible things were during the communist times. It was just, one guy today from Montenegro told me it was worse in Albania than it was in North Korea. And growing up, hearing about North Korea, that sounds like the worst thing on earth. And they were taught that it was even worse over there. So, man, it's crazy. So I kind of feel like Columbus. I sailed the ocean to the New World, and now I need to tell the people what the New World was like. But, it was so different. It was more different than anything that I ever expected. And that's where it was real difficult. It's difficult to put that into words to where you can understand that, because you have to kind of experience it. You have to live it. It was very different. So that's kind of why this has been hard to put into words, this review, because there is so much at play. I can't just say one thing and have it cover everything, because there's just so much going on. And that wouldn't be fair to the people and all they've been through. And so, wow. So how to sum this up, you guys? I want to say Albania is good for the heart and soul. If you go there, you will not be disappointed. It will change you. Take time to learn about the Albanians, learn about their struggle, find out what they've come through and where they're going. Encourage them to stay and make their country strong, because they need to know that they can do that. They're not bad people. They're not dumb people. They're damn smart people. And they just, I think, need encouragement to make what they have the best they can make it, because I think it'd be an incredible place if they finally kept the best of the Albanians home and made their country kick butt. So, yeah, I don't know how to say that any other way. I've been thinking about that since I've been there. Even in the Philippines, when I go there, I see so many of the best Filipinos leave, and then people are unhappy how the Philippines is. And I think, when the best talent goes away, who's going to make the place great, right? So I really encourage the best of the Albanians to do their thing at home, and then it will change for the best. So Albania, thank you from the bottom of my heart to yours, and I will be back someday. I'm going to make it to Theth. I didn't get a chance to go there because it was out of season and snowed in, but I really want to see that place. It looks magical. So Albania, from my heart to yours, we'll see ya.
Hey, Vern.